In today's video, I'm going to be giving you the most fun operators on defense in a tier list. Let's get into it. First, we're going to start off with the worst tier in the game. There are timestamps below if you want to skip to the best, but for now, let's start off with the last tier. That is going to be Cade, Wamai, and Tachanka. Now, before I say any of the reasons on why they're in the last tier, I want to preface this tier list by saying why the tier list is structured the way it is. The reason that certain operators are placed where they are is general playstyle. It's not how you use their ability, it's not just abilities in general, it is how you play with the abilities and how round to round you're going to be playing as an operator. With that out of the way, Cade, you just throw Electro Claws down and you sit in sight. Not very fun, that's why he's in the snore tier. Same with Wamai. You're just sitting in sight and you're giving out magnets to whatever shield you're protecting or whatever piece of utility you're protecting. Not very fun. And then same thing with Tachanka. Tachanka, you're kind of just waiting, right? So not really that good either, but at least, making lineups and shooting his thing is a little bit more fun, which is why he's ahead of Cade and Wamai. Then going into the C tier, we have Mute, Goyo, Aruni, Legion, Pulse, and Capcam. These are objectively more fun, right? It's kind of fun to put mute jammers down, but then you're just sitting in sight waiting. Goyo is objectively a little bit more fun, but again, his ability usage is not that fun and actually causes more harm than more use in some cases. The only thing that's kind of cool about him is his gun. Same thing with Aruni. Sight setup is kind of fun, but then playstyle wise, she just sits in sight. Same with Legion. You're just putting Legion mines and staircases around the site. Pulse is objectively like a really fun operator, but the thing is, a lot of the times it's not going to work out for you because you're just going to get roam cleared, right? So it is really fun when it does work, and on the off chance that you do hit a nitro, it's pretty cool, but 9 times out of 10 you're probably not going to do that, and there's just better operators for fun. And that is the same reason that Capcan is also in the C tier. Placing his traps and getting kills with his traps is really cool, but 9 times out of 10 they're going to get shot and you're going to get no value out of them. And he's a 3 armor, so he's just not very fun. He might actually be a 2 armor, don't quote me on that, but that's why he's in the C tier. And then the B tier. These are arguably pretty fun operators for solo queue ranked. Going into it, we have Frost, Maestro, Echo, Valk, Thorn, Smoke, Castle, Mira, Jaeger, and Bandit. This is arguably my most controversial tier because, objectively this tier list doesn't apply to everybody as people find certain things more fun than others. But for me, in terms of general playstyle, Frost, you just put your mats down and you make shotgun holes, and it's about as much fun as you get out of playing the operator. After you put down her abilities, she just becomes a normal operator with no, gunfight potential to be had. So that's why she's so low. Maestro and Echo would be a lot higher on the list if this was a post-plant meta, but right now you just can't get a lot of usage out of their utility just because the meta does not favor their abilities right now. But it is pretty fun. You put down the cams and you're able to mess with people planting, which is why they're not in the C or the snore tier, but they're still, they're okay. And then Valkyrie arguably should be higher on most people's tier list, but for mine, she's pretty low. The reason being is her cameras are really good, especially if you are alive and you have teammates that are dead watching those cameras and giving you information. Also very fun for nitro traps, which I actually just made a Valkyrie guide on that I talked about in my video, which I'll put in the top right. A lot of the times your teammates aren't going to be watching those cams, and it's a lot harder to pull off nitro traps than you'd think it is. And 50-50 chance minimum, those nitros are just going to go to waste when you try to do a nitro trap. So that's why she's in the B tier. Thorn, same thing, you just put down her abilities. She does have a pretty cool gun and a deployable shield, but that's about all she has going for her. Now, you might see a lot of these operators and think these are really fun and I enjoy playing them, but as I get higher and higher on the list, you'll start to see why these are in the B tier. Anyways, getting on with it, Smoke is pretty low. Smoke is really fun. You make site setups, you have an SMG-11, you have 3 smoke canisters, you get to see action a lot of the times. It's just, if you're kind of gun skill favored and you don't find the part of the game enjoyable where you're making strats and setting up site, then you're not going to like him. Somebody like me who enjoys setting up site and making entire strats, I would probably be putting, Castle and Smoke in the S or A tier, but I know most of the people playing the game aren't like that, and that's why they're so low on the tier list. Let me know if you disagree with that in the comments so I don't make the mistake again of putting these two people so low, because I feel like they're pretty fun to make strats with, but a lot of the people don't like to make strats and they just like to gun around, which is what this tier list is kind of meant for. And then Mira is really fun, but she's banned a lot of the times, and you don't have teammates to support your Miras that are playing Jaeger, that are playing Bandit, that are playing Mute to help you keep your Miras alive. When you do get to play her and you do get to use her correctly on sites where she is viable, which is extremely rare, then she is really fun, and she would move to a higher tier on the tier list. But like I said, it's hard to get to that point, and that's why she's so low. And then we have Jaeger and Bandit. These could arguably go higher if you wanted them to. Their abilities you put down at the beginning of the round, and then you don't do anything with the abilities, right? So that obviously makes them a little less fun, but the guns are pretty cool if you know how to play around them, which is why they're not too low. But, Bandit tricking is pretty fun. That's still an ability that you can do mid-round to help out your team, which is why he's above Jaeger, but still in the B tier. Now we're gonna get into some actually very fun operators, starting out with the A tier. We have Melusi, Mozzie, Vigil, Clash, Doc, and Rook. This is where it starts to get kind of subjective to where like you could put these anywhere you really wanted to. Melusi, super fun. MP5, you have the ability to slow any attacker rushes, get information that you could swing off of. So a great operator if you want to take gunfights and use her ability correctly to take those gunfights. I love Melusi, very, very fun. Definitely belongs in the A tier. However, Mozzie and Vigil are more fun than Melusi because their gadgets heavily support their own playstyle more than just a team playstyle where you have to kind of stick in your sight. Melusis don't do very well on the roam as opposed to you being able to use your utility as Vigil or Mozzie on the roam for yourself. Mozzie Pests can help you stay and roam a lot more efficiently and a lot safer, so can a Vigil Scan, so that is why they're in the A tier. Then we have Clash. Clash is so much fun. You can't tell me you're selecting Clash and being like, oh man, I'm not gonna have fun this round. Like, dude, it's so much fun, so much fun. It's like a walking deployable shield that zaps people that you can do 360s on. She has a pocket F2, which is what we call her SMG, by the way. Just a boatload of fun. And then we have Doc and Rook. Doc and Rook recently got buffed, but Rook also has the 2x on his scope. Doc heals for 200 HP, and Rook can self-revive now. Super, super fun. Doc also having a bailiff makes him a little more versatile. But overall, if you want to have fun and you want to spawn peek and you want to get into more gunfights and be more aggressive, these two are very easy to do that with and very, very fun. And then we're getting into the top tier, the most fun operators that you could play in Rainbow Six Siege. And here they are: Ella, Warden, Alibi, Azami, Thunderbird, Oryx, and Cav. I'm actually going to put Oryx above Cav. That's my mistake. The most fun operator, in my opinion, in the entire game to play is Oryx. But let's start at the very bottom. Ella, very fun just because of her weapons, right? Her weapons are extremely fun to play. The same reason that Melusi was so high, because you can use her gadgets to swing off of enemies and be able to have a lot better gunfights for yourself, is the same reason that Ella's fun, right? But Ella also has a deployable shield you can use for gunfights, and her guns are arguably better, making those gunfights even more fun. Because of her loadout, you can actually play a lot more aggressively, and you can throw mines at people or have mines set up to help your gunfights, and that is why she's so fun. Most people that play Ella are just looking to have fun. They're not looking to actually be utility based and help their team out like they are with Melusi, and that's why she's in the S tier. Then we have Warden. Warden is super, super fun. The only thing that's stopping me from putting him higher on the S tier is the fact that if they see they have a Warden or they just don't have smokes or flashes, you're gonna get zero value out of him. But other than that, he has an MPX with a 1.5 times scope, an SMG 12, which he can also pair with the SAS shotgun. Deployable shield can counter any smokes or flashes in the game, so if they're rushing or they're using a certain set of smokes or flashes, you're noticing a trend, you bust out a Warden, and it's so much fun. You get free clicks, free headshots. It's always going to be a good time playing Warden. Alibi is probably the best solo queue defender right now in the entire game, hands down. The most versatile, the most utility bringing, and the easiest to get frags with. So very fun. You can run around with her SMG. Her SMG is extremely easy to use. Very good fire rate, very good ammo count with a 1.5 and a deployable shield. And she has a gadgets you can get information off of. So that is why she's in the S tier. Just very, very fun to run around and gun people with. Azami in the S tier. This is going to be a little controversial because I put people like Castle and Smoke in the B tier. But let me explain myself. So Azami is very fun in the sense that her ability can be used in so many different ways. You can make so many pixel peeks with her, lineups with her. You can make your own deployable shields to swing off with her. She's overall just extremely fun. She also has a deagle for sight setup or for cheeky headshots if you're making a montage. Just, you know, you're always going to have fun playing Azami. I always love playing Azami because not only is she super fun, but she's also extremely useful right now, and she always will be unless they nerf her, which is why she's in the S tier. Then you have Thunderbird. This one's for all my console players watching the video, but Thunderbird is extremely fun to play. It allows healing, but also she has a spear, she has a nitro cell, and she has a bearing 9, right? So the loadout section is really helping her out here, but her ability allows her to play a lot more aggressively than you'd be able to do without healing, right? That's one of the perks with Doc and Rook and why they're so much fun, but Thunderbird does it to a better and higher degree with a better loadout, and that's why she's in the S tier. Then you have Cav. Cav is probably one of the worst defenders in the game, but it's probably one of the most fun defenders in the entire game. You can sneak around with Cav, which is just really, really fun. You have a silenced pistol that downs people, and then you can get interrogations with, and then you get free wall hacks to get, like, you know, a 4K for the team. She's just silent. It's so much fun. That's why I think she's fun. I don't really gotta say much. It's Caviera. If you want to have fun, you play her. And then you have Oryx. Oryx, in my opinion, is a better version of Cav. He brings the funness of being able to zip around the map and flank people, but also he brings sight setup and a bit more versatility and usefulness than Cav does. In terms of funness, climbing up hatches, dashing at shield operators, knocking people back, a T5 SMG with a 1.5 scope on, the ability to run through walls and create rotates paired with a Thunderbird so you don't lose health. So much fun. The addition of Oryx made this game so much more fun content-wise wise as well. That's why he's in the top of S tier. The most fun operator in the entire game of Rainbow Six Siege, hands down, is Oryx. That's pretty much it for the tier list. If you liked the video, liked it, sub to the channel down below. I just hit 1K and I'm about to be monetized. My name's Alka, and I will see y'all in the next one.